Okay, good evening, and welcome to the March 5th, 2019 meeting of the Board of Directors of the Nassau County Interim Finance Authority. And before we start, I'd ask our General Counsel and Secretary to say, do we have a quorum?
Yes, for us.
Let's make a note for the minutes. And the first item on the agenda would be for the approval of the minutes for our last meeting at December 18th, 2018. Does anybody have any comments, changes, or is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, the motion carries. The next item is on employee benefits and delegation of authority to set employee benefits.
Very briefly,
Jeremy,
in the past, the authority has delegated to the compensation committee the authority to set employee wages and benefits. To help expedite matters, we are asking that the board delegate to the chairman of the compensation committee the ability to set employee benefits, not wages. So it will expedite matters, and every time a change is made in the handbook or something like that, we will not have to come back to the compensation committee for a vote. In terms of our salaries, he would not be able to change our salaries. And also, any changes that he makes in terms of employee benefits would be consistent with the budget that's been passed by the board for that year.
Any questions? Is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, the motion carries. Next item on the agenda is for the media consultant, authorization to modify employment agreement with Zimmerman Edelson and to take related actions.
Zimmerman Edelson has been working in public relations for us since May of 2015 on an hourly basis. After looking at their billing rates and meeting with them, we decided it would be more appropriate to pay them on a monthly basis. We determined that a fee of $2,500 a month would be appropriate. We arrived at that fee by looking at their past billings and giving them a slight increase because they have been working with us these 3 years.
I'd just say we have a representative here. You want to stand up and wave? David Chauvin, and is our main point of contact, and I think they've done a great job, so I'm definitely going to be in favor of this.
I second that. I think that fee is very, very reasonable.
Now's your chance to speak, David.
Thank you. So it's been an absolute honor to represent NACO, based on my own personal history, but having had the personal honor of working on behalf of Nassau County in both the executive and legislative branches, and now being able to represent the Nassau Interim Finance Authority, it has been an incredible learning experience for me personally as well, to work with each and every director through the times we've been here. So thank you very much for the consideration.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, the motion carries. The next item is participation in municipal derivatives settlements.
As you know, staff tries hard to participate in any class actions where we feel the authority might be able to gain money. Normally, Evan or I submit applications for these various settlements. In the case of this particular class action, the administrator of the class action wants express authority from the board for us to submit the necessary documentation. So this is a resolution giving us that ability to submit that documentation.
Are there any questions?
I'd just like to make a comment. Over the years, your leadership, Jeremy, in uncovering funds that ultimately benefit the county in this regard has been outstanding. So I'm 100% in favor of this, and continue doing what you're doing. It's been very good for us.
Thank you.
Thank you. So I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, the motion carries. Do we have a running number of how much we've collectively in $2 million?
Which is going to the county.
Right, goes right back to the county. Helps offset the cost of NIFA. So I think we've more than earned our keep. Maybe we'll all get a raise too.
I put 100% of the success of that $2 million on Jeremy's experience and just keeping his radar out there and that extra work that he does. So
Tenacity.
yeah, excellent.
Thank you.
Okay, next item is with regard to labor-related delegations.
Right, well, as you know, the county is just beginning the process of entering into labor negotiations. We've hired a representative, Gary DeLaverson, to represent NIFA's interests. The negotiations are very dynamic, and often we need to make interim decisions about things. And so what this does is give the chairman of the authority the ability to speak on your behalf, as long as he reports back to you on the direction which he's asked our representatives to take in the negotiations. Ultimately, when the contracts are voted on, that will come back to the entire board. An example of this is that the county asked us to sign a confidentiality, and what is enabled here is a mutual interest agreement. We're going to correct the record. It's a confidentiality and common interest agreement, but it was something that they needed quickly. Adam signed it. You're ratifying and affirming that decision, and there may be other agreements like that which you may have to sign before the ultimate negotiations complete. So that's what you're doing, delegating to him the authority to speak on your behalf.
Any questions?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion carries.
And the last item I'm going to speak to you about is what's called a liquidity. Oh, excuse me, I beg your pardon. You want to introduce it? I'm sorry.
No, I was just going to say, it's not the last item.
It's the last item that
You
I'm
are.
going to
Yes,
speak
okay.
about, is the replacement of a liquidity facility. As you know, we have long-term bonds which are paid for by selling short-term bonds. So we have weekly resets of our bonds, and we have 30-day resets of our bonds. We use the money that we get from reselling our bonds to pay off people who had previously purchased our short-term bonds. If by some chance we can't issue new bonds to pay off the old bondholders, we have to have a liquidity facility, which is like an insurance policy. So that's what we're asking you to approve here, is the institution of a new liquidity facility. Again, it's like an insurance policy to make sure our bondholders are paid off. And hopefully our bids will come back by the middle of March. We issued an RFP, and we will select someone to get the new liquidity facility. Any questions?
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. The last item on the agenda is the consideration of a county contract for Hayes and Sawyer, Malcolm, Kearney, a joint venture in relation to a Nassau County Department of Public Works project that for the Bay Park sewage treatment plant as it related to the rehabilitation for the damage done during Superstorm Sandy. And
Yes, the
I'm going to have
contract.
Martha
Sorry.
present the background and open up for questions.
Sure. The contract in front of you is with Hazen and Sawyer, and it is the fifth amendment to an existing contract. The purpose of this amendment is to provide additional services to manage the Superstorm Sandy recovery program at the Bay Park sewage treatment plant. The contract amount is $24.4 million, and the terms are being extended through December 31st of 2023. The current contract expired December 31st, 2018. Approximately 80% or $19.5 million will be eligible for reimbursement by either FEMA funds or other related grants. Any questions?
Are the non-recoverable funds currently budgeted for and available in the capital program?
They are in the capital program, yes. They're budgeted in the capital project under each different project.
And is there sufficient buffer there in the event that they don't, for whatever reason, the county doesn't realize the full percentage of reimbursement from the federal government?
Yes.
I think we may want to we do have somebody here from Public Works who may want to ask a question of
I have some questions I'd like to ask.
My name is Vincent Falkowski. I like to go by Vinny, and if you could spell that with a Y, I'd appreciate it, not an I-E. I'm a deputy commissioner with Public Works, and I'm a relatively new hire. I came on board in 2018 to manage this project, Suez, and several other sewage and water-related projects. So I'm a program manager by trade.
Got it. The questions I have is can you tell me the dollar amounts from 18 to, from 13 to 18?
From 2013 to 18?
Of hard cost construction?
I believe that's budgeted about $850 million.
About 850.
Right.
And how much more do you see?
Well, there's the diversion project, which is a big chunk of this. That's $354 million. So the total program at Bay Park alone is a little over $1.2 billion.
A little over 1.2 billion.
But,
What-
go ahead, sorry.
So in the services that were provided, the couple questions I have was it all the oversight of any hard cost construction, issuance of subcontracts, payments to subcontractors?
This is a program management contract. What program managers do, they manage multiple projects that are interrelated somehow. You know, I'm the unit leader of water and wastewater management. So under the Bay Park projects, we have wastewater projects. Obviously, it's we're refurbishing an impacted plant, and the grants, are about $800 million. It's a big chunk of money is going into Bay Park. It's a whole new facility from the first time I saw it in the 90s.
I'm trying to understand the services that were provided. Obviously,
they're a higher level than a construction manager.
Okay, they're high, so it's not construction management.
Correct. This is they're managing the program. So there are multiple projects that have lots of things in common and they overlap. These folks make all of that mesh like a fabric.
And if there's construction, who oversees that?
Look, we hire a construction manager to do that.
So they oversee the CM on your behalf?
Correct. They are essentially our agent.
Got it.
They're an extension of the county staff.
And are they responsible for preparing the documents, like the project worksheets and other requisitions that will determine what is reimbursable? From
Oh
the
yes,
federal government?
absolutely. It's a big chunk of what they do, and that is baked into this amendment.
So I'm sorry.
I was just going to say, what percentage, maybe this is where Lester was going to be earlier, what percentage of the job has been completed to date? In other words, this contract is for $24 million.
I think we're just a skosh over, I want to say 81%, but that's of the $850 million. We just kicked off the effort to start the diversion project. We hired a designer to come up with scope documents for that project. That's the other $354 million that I mentioned.
So on the first phase, if your 81% is what you're using, is it safe for me to assume that they've been paid around 81% of the original contract?
I think it's a little bit less than that.
Yeah, but we held back retainers or something?
Well, I don't think there's not retained. It's like a personal service type contract. So they're professionals. They're licensed engineers, architects, that kind of stuff.
To some degree, they're acting as owner.
Yes. But it takes time to catch up to where you really are in the percent complete.
No, I understand that. Okay. Oversight by the county, obviously. Oversight by the federal government as well.
I don't understand how.
Do they oversee in any way the services that are provided, or is there reporting to?
Oh yes, they
feds?
report on our behalf. I mean,
Okay.
everything pretty much leaves with the commissioner's signature or mine, but they help us craft all of our reporting requirements. In fact, they help us manage the DEC's consent agreement, which is vital to this. We have to stay on time with a lot of these projects because it's vital to the restoration of the Western Bays.
Thank you very much, Vinny.
You're welcome.
The only
Vinny,
question
I have a
would
couple
ask
questions.
is that, so you were not involved when they were originally selected, correct?
No, I replaced Joe
You only came into it in
Davenport.
the last year,
Yes.
but it sounds like you're working very closely with them.
Yes, I've worked with many of these folks in other capacities throughout my career.
Okay. So are you and your staff satisfied with the work that they're currently doing?
Oh, absolutely. There's not a finer program manager out there than this team of folks.
Okay, thank you.
Vinny, my inquiry has to do with continued amendments, because, as you know, it's not uncommon to have amendments when you're doing the bricks and the mortar, or as I like to refer to it. This is not the bricks and the mortar. This is the consulting and the engineering services, which started at $29 million, and after all the amendments, we're up to $121 million. It's a big number. It's understandable if that original $850 million project grew to $1.2 million, because you're under 1% for that labor. So that's understandable. I guess my question to you is there an end in sight? We're looking at another $300 million of construction, so I can understand, spending another $24 million for the construction management and engineering and consulting. So my question to you, in your opinion, do you see further amendments on the remaining, say, $300 million of construction, which, if there are another amendments there, then that's going to trickle down on the consulting and engineering as well? So I'd like your opinion on that.
Okay, well, I have to back up just a little bit. There's a lot of risk involved in this next phase of the work, this big diversion project. It's brand new. We're at the very beginning of discovery, so to speak, with the designer.
So I interpret that to mean we should plan on some big numbers being amended again.
I can't say that. I just like to talk about risk. Risk is stuff that we don't know, right? So of that $850 million that we're undertaking right now, a lot of the risk is out of it. We're in the middle of it. Once you open up a project and you start to develop the underground and the infrastructure comes out of the ground, if it's a new construction, the risk is it dissipates as the project matures. $350 million is about a third of the total, the $1.2 billion we talked about. And again, a lot of unknowns. Right now that whole project is hypothetical. I think, because I helped put this amendment together, and I believe that process is expensive. Let's get it right once and try not to do it again. I'm not a big fan of coming back multiple times. I still don't. There's the element of risk that we don't know what we're going to find, but we feel that we're covered until December 2022 on the PMJV's agreement, and the WSP, which is the diversion project, goes to 2023. There's no real correlation between the two. The other project's going to be performed in concert with New York State DEC, so we'll have just oversight. So based on how some of the knowns go on the remaining $850 million and some of our assumptions, and these are pretty smart folks that came up with this concept to divert the effluent from Bay Park to Cedar Creek, we should know. We'll know way before we're done with this amendment, but there's enough here to get us through to the finish line.
That raises a question in my mind. In the processing of this work, we all know in construction there are unknowns. When you run into an unknown, that's either an addendum or a change order to an existing contractor, or a new contractor is going to be hired. How do their services then get applied?
Well,
do they get a percentage of work?
No, we work on effort. So this whole amendment is based on effort. There's a lot of numbers behind this. It's hours. It's how much it's going to take, how much it takes to fill out a monthly report to the DEC or other regulatory requirements that we have to comply with. So we do an estimate. It's kind of like a not to exceed. We may not use all of this. That's another reality. We could have budgeted for this, and it's our best stab, right? We want to get through and focus on the work until 2022 and not have to come back to you next year and ask you for more money.
So it's not to exceed, which means that somebody is monitoring those hours and those costs. Is that the county or is that the feds?
That's my office.
That's your office. Okay.
I mean, I work with these folks on a day-to-day basis.
Work.
Yeah.
So, Vinny, I just want to make sure this math jives with what you've looked into and what you've taken over, and if it makes sense to you. From 2013 to the end of 2018, those 6 years, the total expense for the consulting and engineering portion of it was roughly $97 million or $16 million per year. So this amendment right now, which will cover those payments to the same for the same help amounts to about $5 million per year. Roughly a third. Do I take that to mean that we're on the home stretch here, or do I take that to believe that I should be anticipating this number to be amended up threefold over the next 3 or 4 years?
I don't anticipate that kind of.
So how do you explain?
All right, let's back up. So we have about $100 million, I think you said. Let's talk in round numbers. That's about 8% of the construction value of the $1.2 billion. The diversion project, the $6.55 million that's in the amendment, equates to about 1.85% of the diversion project. I'm doing this a long time, program management, managing multiple projects. 5 to 10% is not uncommon when the projects are this complicated. And that's just for the oversight of the program manager, the extension of, if I had a team of 75 folks, maybe we wouldn't need a program manager, but they are highly specialized in this end of engineering. It's much more difficult than, row houses or a mall of some kind. We rely on redundancy and reliability, and we're also under, oversight by the state to get these jobs done on time. And there's been a lot of risk in that $850 million that we've already performed, and some of that risk has translated into additional time, which they're going to be compensated for under this amendment. So this gets us to the end game, and I'm hoping if we did our jobs right, it gets us to the end game.
Just to back up a second, so on the total project now, since you've done this addendum, and maybe you can give me a sense of, so what was, say, I'm sure you build in a contingency, what was the contingency, how much of that have you had to use already, and how much of that do you have going forward in the overall project in terms of risk and being able to have contingency to address any
I think we're here because we don't have contingency for the program manager. We typically
not for the program manager.
we typically add 30%. We typically add 30% to our bid number to kind of deal with some of the issues underground. And I think there have been projects that have gone well over 100%, because once you get into the ground, sometimes you dig stuff up that you didn't anticipate. And you have to go deeper with an alignment. An alignment's a stretch of pipe between point A and point B. If you set out to do it and it's 8 feet deep, you designed it for 8 feet deep, and all of a sudden you find utilities, an Indian burial ground, all bets are off. Now you got to go deeper, you got to go around, you have to re-engineer, it pauses the job. The time cost of money alone on some of those delays are tremendous.
Back to the question, though. So do you feel that there's, in terms of the overall project, not for the consultant, adequate contingency
Yes.
between now and the end of the project?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. Any other questions?
I'm good. Thank you, Vinny.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, the motion carries, and I'll entertain a motion for adjournment.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.